to the family. I remember when Bonda took me to meet her family, my parents, and Mrs. Roebuck. I mean, it was a very different experience between Mr. Roebuck and Mrs. Night and day. She was all welcoming and nice to meet you and your Morehouse man and all of that. He just kind of looked at me like, what are you doing here? But, behind her back, behind his back, she said, don't worry about him. You're going to be fine. But, I mean, this is something that I really mean from the heart. I am a mom's boy. I love my mother. And consequently, I love my wife. And I used to talk about my mom all the time in public. I talk about my wife. So I say that to say, when I first met Mrs. Roebuck, I called her Mrs. Roebuck for a very long time. Because to me, nobody had the same quality as my mom. But over time, I started calling her mother. Because she was very special. And they tell you when you're young, if you want to know what you're married, go check out who raised them. And I see every day that my household's a beautiful household because there was a wonderful mom in Mrs. Roebuck. Who now
I'll start with a funny story. I remember, so I lost my first baby at a very late stage, and I didn't think that I would be able to have children. And I prayed and prayed for the Kaylin that you saw, my oldest. And when she was born, I thought I had a demon. and I remember I had her. It was a emergency C-section, and they got her. She was born and right on a Tuesday. She remembers that. And I was hooked up with morphine and all this. And I remember sitting up. As soon as they let me sit up, I said, I gotta have my mother needs to be here. I can't hold this baby without her screaming. I'm in pain. I don't know what I'm doing. And my mother got on an airplane, and she was with me for 3 weeks of that baby's life. And I remember going to the airport with her and just sobbing like a baby. Because I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with this baby. And she said, no, you need time. You'll figure it out. Well, I worked at it for a good couple weeks, and then she came back. But if my daughters were here, they would tell you the same story with that Cara and Jade. She taught both of them how to swim. She would come during the summer, and she would turn red. She would be in the sun so long with those girls, and so they would tell you of their love of her too. But I used to call my mother and say, I can't do this. Like, I just can't. This whole mother thing, these girls, they got mouths, they got, you can't beat them like she beat us. We ain't gonna even go there because that was abuse. I'm not gonna take her down like that because her church folks would be. They know to beat down abuse. But my mother said to me about my oldest daughter, she said, you never give up. You give in, but you never give up on your children. And that was a lesson she learned. She taught me. I've had a very difficult time the last couple of years in my life. And my mother has been there for me. I can pick up the phone, and she does the same thing. It's her touch through the phone. It's her praying. I know she never gave up praying on me. She never gave up. And so for that, I thank her. I love her. I can't even, what she means to me and the strength that she gave me. And I still have. I have that strength. And so that's what I do for my daughters. You just have to pray for your children.
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, and my mother wants her church family to know. So there's another story. I became a Episcopalian